Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for tuning in this afternoon. I'm glad that you could be with us this afternoon. Um, Alongside Jan from New York City Saves Money
Hey,
is
Steve.
alongside. Hey, Jan. But one of the things I wanted to mention was I've got a kitchen hack that I like to do. I don't know how many of you out there like to use flavored coffee creamers. How many of you, even if you don't drink coffee, say hot chocolate or some other hot beverage that this would be compatible with? I like to take two different flavored coffee creamers like vanilla, Irish cream, vanilla, amaretto, vanilla, and whatever, hazelnut, and mix them together when they're running low to save space in the refrigerator. It's not the first time I've done it, but I always like to take two things and combine it into one, especially if it's compatible and I know that it would have a good flavor. Jan, do you happen to have any kitchen little secrets to share?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Steve, I have to say this, that I really, really love when we think we don't have things in our home or we have to make that extra trip to the store and funds are low. We think, but sometimes we overthink and underthink at the same time. What do I mean, Steve, by the underthinking? Sometimes we forget to utilize what we have. And quite honestly, Steve and I, we were in the, as I call it, or me, even Steve, the green room. We would just happen to have an everyday sort of chit chat, rather just normal conversation. And a couple of things came up that, like the one that he just mentioned, a hack about mixing things together and combining it into one before running, dashing to the grocery store. For example, Steve had that vanilla creamer and he had another creamer and he had another creamer. So he combined it, and while he had little bits of a bunch, he turned it into a whole big of a one. That is an amazing method and principle. So, what I'm trying to say, Steve, is this: let's not be so fast to think we don't have when in truth and in fact we really do have. Here's the thing that I've been doing, Steve, and even just recently. When I run low on ground cinnamon, how many watching love ground cinnamon? I bet everybody, right? Okay. When I start running low on ground cinnamon, Steve, what I do is I will just take simple white granulated sugar and I will combine it with that ground cinnamon into, like, I have this like little small Tupperware type of container, and this is the cutest thing. And I give it shake, 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 and I will stretch out that cinnamon with the sugar, and it helps me, until the next time I can get some at the grocery store. And you know what, Steve? A wonderful trick with the garlic powder. There is no reason to buy garlic salt, in my opinion. If you have garlic powder at home, what's to stop someone from mixing regular salt with their garlic powder? Do it to taste, mix it up. And Steve, I know you mentioned something was a three combination hack that you had mentioned, Steve, and it sounded like some sort of an Italian seasoning thing. What was that?
What that was is this. Let's say you have about a quarter of a bottle of basil. You've got, say, maybe a third of a bottle of parsley, and you have about a half a bottle of oregano. Why don't you take the parsley and the basil and mix it with the oregano, shake it up, and you have created a simple, easy Italian seasoning instead of having to go out and buy the Italian. You basically have it under in your cupboard, which also happens to be three seasonings that I use in my spaghetti sauce.
Wow.
So I the only thing I don't like about Italian seasoning is there's one or two other spices that are intermixed with it. And I like to keep my spices basic when I do my sauces. Um, Basil, oregano, parsley, a little bit of pepper, bay leaf. I do use sugar to counteract the acidity. Um, but that's basically it. I don't like to overpower my sauce.
Right.
I know a lot of people, oh, I got to have this, I got to have that, I got to put this in, I got to put that in. Well, actually, no, you don't. I have found out that the more simple you keep it, the better it tastes. That's just me.
And I know what you mean regarding the oregano. To me, maybe it's my taste, but I get a strong sense of oregano in many Italian so-called seasonings. Where if you make your own, you could control it a little by putting. If you're not fond of strong oregano overpowering all the other great flavors. So, in my opinion, what I would do if I have those, mixed together, I would probably use less oregano.
Hmm. Yeah, I do know this. I am of Sicilian heritage. My mom, you know, being from there, I was born there on the course of my dad being in the military, getting stationed there not once but twice, and I was born his second tour over there.
Bless his heart for doing the service.
Yeah, definitely. And I do know this over there in Sicily. I do know this. They focus on the basil.
Yeah,
That's the big one is the basil. And they not that they don't do meat sauces over there, they do, but a lot of the time it's just a marinara type sauce. If they want any type of meat, they'll make like a 3 to 4 ounce cut of meat, thin, about a quarter of an inch thick, maybe slightly above, off to the side if they want some
nice.
type of meat,
Yeah.
rather than have it, in the sauce altogether. But yeah, like I said, I lived over there only a couple of years. I did go back and visit family who have since, passed away since then, but an aunt and an uncle. And I went over there and visited again when I was about five and a half, maybe six. I went back one time, and um, yeah, my aunt, the one that I'm speaking highly of, she just recently had a birthday on the 1st. She would have been 103.
Oh,
So, and today, lo and behold, of all days, is also my mom's birthday. She would have turned 85.
oh,
So,
oh,
but
special day.
yeah, it absolutely is. So, talking about the sauce and the spices and bringing up Sicily, that's a good, to commemorate,
Yeah.
my mom's, heritage and her side of the house.
Yeah, and
So,
I understood from you she was a fantastic cook. And you
oh
know
yeah.
something, Steve? One of the things that a lot of people that manage wonderful kitchens, whether it's in an RV, whether it's in a mansion, or whether it's in a regular everyday apartment, we can make the decisions to do these things, and we could start either keeping more money or saving more money or switching it to do other things.
Hmm.
Steve, another thing that a lot of people do that bothers me personally, they waste leftover bread. No, 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 no. No wasting of bread. Never a good thing. Instead of that, if you find that your bread isn't moving fast enough, that's the time to immediately wrap it up and freeze it. One day you could make garlic toast with it. One day you could do in the future French toast with it or bread crumbs with it. Don't just like forget about it till it turns green and you have to toss it. We don't like food waste. Food waste is never good.
Yes, and one other that you can do with it for those that like to eat salads, you can create your own croutons with it.
That's it.
All you got to do, coming back to the seasoning, all you got to do is just throw in your favorite flavoring and poo, and then somehow break it up, and voila, you got your croutons. But um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The bread. One of the ways that I have come to learn to preserve bread, put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
That right there will extend the life at least. I know I've gotten at least a couple more weeks out of it, maybe 3.
Wow.
So, put it in the fridge just because you see an expiration date. "Oh, but I gotta eat this bread by this." No, you don't. And if you don't wanna put it in the fridge, you can always freeze the bread.
Right. Right.
Freezing seems to be like the number one secret in the kitchen. If you wanna preserve the longevity of something, freeze it.
Like, didn't you? And I know I mentioned it, and I'm almost positive we both mentioned it. Some people fear buying manager special, Steve, and I'll never understand why. Like, if you go to the meat counter, you see
No,
manager special. What would be the two options that either one of us would do? You tell me. You just mentioned it, and if
no, I
there you go.
manage your specials. Why would you want to run away from that or shy away? Oh no. If the manager special is there and you're gonna save 4, 5, $6, I'm just using that as a rounded number,
Sure.
on meats. Let's say a normal pack of ribeyes might run you $16, but you can get them for 10, and you've got 3 in there. That breaks down to what, about 333 a steak? No. Jump on the manager specials. Take it home. Yes, if you're gonna, you can. It's Go ahead and prepare a meal with it that day if you like. Lunch, dinner, however you're gonna do it. But whatever you have remainder, put it in the freezer.
That's it. I mean, that's the biggest trick of all. Okay, okay, maybe that day you have to run out and go somewhere you don't have time to cook that thing. Put it in the freezer. Why should you lose out on the manager special?
No, no, do it. No,
I
no,
mean, that's crazy.
that's one of the things that I encourage people to do. I encourage people to look and go for the sales, for things that are upcoming to go on sale. And when they do, that's the time to stock up a little bit on what the item is. For example, I showed you in my grocery haul video that I did those Margaret Holmes black eyed peas. When I went to Sam's a couple of days back, there were only 3 boxes left on the shelf. That tells you how good of a deal they were.
Wow.
Um, and Margaret Holmes is usually a pretty good brand. I mean, the quality, the flavoring, is good. And if it's not flavored enough, you can always throw a little small pat of butter in to change up the flavor. But no, always look for sales, upcoming sales, what's on sale. If need be, go ahead and carry a calculator with you, or if you're good at math and you can figure it out in your head, either way. Like I said, I saved $2.10 on 6 cans of black eyed peas, a total of 420 because I bought 12 cans.
That adds up.
It
That adds up.
absolutely does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely go after the sales. Do not be afraid.
No,
You
not
know,
at all. You know what else, Steve? I have another trick. If you happen to have, ever like talk about like scraps and thinking we don't have enough, whatever. If you go in your refrigerator, let's say you had some leftover beef or chicken stew. It's, well, not quite enough to stretch for like another bowl of stew, but who's to stop us from stretching it a little bit by adding a couple more things and turning that into a future chicken or beef pot pie?
you
Once
can.
I mean, there are many methods to that, and you could all you have to do is just, Google it, check it out for the recipe with your leftover chicken or beef stew. Anything we could do to reduce our need to run to the grocery store. I don't know about where you are, Well, you're in Florida, but where I
Mm,
am, we are experiencing like a really horrible cold snap right now. Like horrible cold snap. Okay. People don't want to venture off in their cars and risk getting stuck. Make the most of what you do have in your home or apartment. That's a big mistake. Not taking
yeah.
advantage of manager special, not utilizing the stuff to full capacity. We don't like food waste. That is a big no. No.
No. Well, I wouldn't exactly point at Florida. Oh, Florida, that's the Sunshine State. Well, no, I have had my days that Florida is the variety pack state
Yeah.
because I had lovely weather yesterday, and today it was 80 degrees yesterday. Now it's 55 degrees outside. It's been raining, it's windy, and it's nippy. I thought
Wow.
about I thought about going out earlier, maybe 2.5, 3 hours back. I thought about going out to the store because the stores are real close to me. But I said, nah. I said I can just postpone it another day when it's sunny out, and because I don't like being out in the wind and the rain
Yeah,
and all that
sure.
stuff. So, but to come back to what you just said, a chicken stew or a beef stew, that's a dead ringer for a pot pie because everything's already there. All you got to
Right.
do is just spoon it out, put it in your um, your 9-inch pie crust and load it up,
There
and
you go.
put the crust over and bake it. And
And another thing too, some people take drop biscuits that they make from the mix that they may have in their stockpile. They make a bunch of drop biscuits. They heat up their stew or beef, whatever, and put those drop biscuits on top of that and throw it in the oven and bake that off too. There are so many things we could do with what we have. I think we underutilize. Steve, I remember you made some purchases a while back. Could have been like months back, and I think it was some sort of a chunky style. It was either beef or chicken soup, the thicker one, the chunky one. Those are wonderful. And that's another swap out if you didn't have chicken stew or anything in your fridge. For like things like that, you could certainly make pot pies out of that.
okay, matter of fact, I think I might know where you're headed with that. Okay, Campbell's makes a chunky soup called sirloin burger.
Love that one.
Well, no, think about what's in it. You've got the carrots, the potatoes, the little meat round pieces. Okay, that is the makings of a beef pot pie.
There you go.
All you got to do is just open the can and just dump it in a pie, and then just as I do your trick with the little biscuit
Yeah.
or the crust over the
And
top.
your
And
trick works just as well too. And something else, Steve, that we could do anything like that. And I think it was on one of your shows, if I'm not mistaken, probably on a Recipe Tuesday, where you took that same type of soup. And by the way, February is like canned soup month. You got to get good prices. Just be on the lookout for that. You could take that same canned soup and pour it over either egg noodles, rice, mashed potatoes. You might have the instant mashed potato route. I mean, like if funds are very low and you don't even have real potatoes, look in your stockpile. I mean, really.
well, yes, I always keep a box of instant potatoes on hand because I have it's not my recipe, it's from a friend, but it's only, just a few ingredients to potato soup I've mentioned on several occasions. Um, well, you've got that 3 ingredient stroganoff, again, a recipe. I don't take credit for that. That comes from a friend. But all you're doing is egg noodle, elbow, ground beef, chicken, turkey, whichever you want, a can of cream of chicken soup. You can do mushroom if you want I've done it that way, and you're just putting it all together.
I saw that video of yours with the stroganoff and everything. It's wonderful. If anybody could look it up, check it out. And by the way, I'm going to be the one to say this to you, Steve. If you're viewing this, don't forget to smash down Steve's like button. That increases his algorithm, and then more people get to see some of these helpful ideas so that they could
Yeah.
save money too. So
Hmm.
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So anytime, bottom line is this though, because coming back to the main subject matter here
Yes.
is really, you know, swap out kitchen hack is anything in your kitchen, if you have two or three of something that you think would work good combined, do combine it. Save that space. Use that space for something else, you know.
Get creative. Don't be afraid of your kitchen. Learn how to experiment in the kitchen. You might like some of your hacks. You might love some of your hacks. You may not, may go, but if you don't try, you'll never know.
You'll never know. That's right. No, you won't. Okay. Well, Janet, as always, and the viewers too, thank you always for,
Thanks
tuning
for
in.
having me. Love to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So, definitely be out on the lookout. I have moved my recipe Tuesday or my Tuesday uh, video, whatever because I've gotten a little bit outside the box, especially last week. I've moved up my time to 8 a.m. I seem to get better views at 8 than I do at 6. So I'm going with that. And, be on the lookout for Tuesday. You never know. I may get spontaneous between now and then. Um, what do I mean? Don't hold me to it, but I might. get the urge to go live one time.
That's why it's important to subscribe and hit the notification bell on
Right.
both of our channels. Yes, people are used to my Monday through Friday 5 a.m. show, but that doesn't mean that's the only time I upload. If you're not in the loop and you like my content and you didn't take a second to hit notification, you're never going to find out.
Right. And like I said, with the since I've gone live last and now, I would say I've easily gained about another 150 to 200 subscribers.
Awesome.
Perhaps they may want to know who they may want to learn a little bit about me. So, I mean, that puts the platform in their hands. Hey, what do you want to ask me? But and if I go live, I'll be on for about a half hour, maybe 35 minutes. That's plenty live time for me. And but who knows? It'll probably happen. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. I may strike up the urge to want to do it maybe one day this weekend. I don't know yet.
Ooh, okay.
So
We'll be on the lookout. I have my notification bell turned on, so I'll
okay,
find out.
yeah, all right, okay, everybody. Like I said, I'm glad you guys tuned in, and I hope to see you guys next time, whether it be this weekend or on Tuesday. Um, I'll see you back then. Bye.